So, Mark, did you see this Olympic meme, our last Olympic topic for this year? Girls packing for a trip versus guys packing for a trip. It's the shooters in the Olympics, the guy who's just sort of like relaxed. He just points the gun and shoots. And then the other person with all the gear, all the complications. It is so true to life.
Yeah, it's crazy like how much stuff those people wore and that like they had like all these different things they could click down, bifocals, all this stuff. I've never seen anything like it, but this reminds me of a video that my wife sends me every time we go on a trip where she's like, wife before she leaves for a trip, and it's like 2 days out, going to this store, buying this, 3 days out, all this stuff. The husband, 15 minutes before they leave, throws some stuff in a bag, zips it up, and goes.
I mean, that's truly me. I've been doing this for a long time. And if I pack the night before, it's a good thing, but it's rare. It's usually just right before I head out the door, throw some stuff together. I think that's good. That's where you should get as a traveler. Make it simple. That's why you can go more places.
Yeah, the only problem is when you think that you have something in there because it's always in there, and then you get where you're going and it's not in there. That happened to me a lot after COVID when you had to empty out bags and stuff, and then all of a sudden you get to your spot and you're like, crap, I don't have this charger, I don't have my glasses on.
And then your wife will never let you live it down.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, she wasn't with me.
Southwest has made splashes, I think, the last few years with their expansion into Hawaii. And I think they've driven down prices, which has been nice. And people play the companion pass game where you can get a companion pass that opened Hawaii up for that. They also do their inter-island flights, which drove prices down because Hawaiian Airlines sort of had a monopoly on that before. But Gary Leff wrote an interesting article summarizing some analysis of what Southwest Hawaii operations are doing, and specifically their inter-island operations and how poorly they're doing. For example, Maui to Lihue, 32% occupancy load. Honolulu to Hilo is their best at 57% occupancy load. So they're basically doing these inter-island flights to keep their gates, to have enough frequency in Hawaii so that they can keep their gates and to best utilize the planes that have flown over there. But it's costing them money, and it's interesting that that's the loss leader, but overall, they're all in and going to continue to expand their Hawaii operation.
Yeah, I think this is just kind of interesting, like behind the scenes stuff for airlines. And you have to fly so many flights into a gate to secure it that other people can't go and take it or use it. And this gets them the best times for the mainland flights, which is the most important and where most of the money is. So I think some of that, and Gary points that out, some of that money, is tied to this where people might take an inter-island connection flight to get on the flight to go to the mainland, so it feeds that too. It's probably a little bit better than they're letting out there, but it is interesting to see what airlines will do just to secure the gates and everything. And funny enough, we flew on the way home, we had to fly connection from Maui to Honolulu and flew Hawaiian Airlines, booked it on Delta, and it was 4 people, but I booked it as 2 sets of 2. Because I was trying to use my Delta status. The first leg was on Hawaiian Airlines because they're partners, but they booked us on 2 different flights on Hawaiian. I didn't even notice this until we're at the gate, and they flew like 10 minutes apart. It didn't make any sense to me. It was so bizarre. They had 2 flights going the exact same place, 10 minutes apart. It blew my mind.
And I think Hawaiian uses the A220, which is a smaller plane. I just recently flew it a couple months ago, and they definitely have more frequency than Southwest, but it has helped to drive prices down on that. And it's good because Southwest is doing really well on their Hawaii operations, even if they're not filling up the planes for these inter-island. But we may see them decrease frequency as they kind of move to red eyes. We may see more red eyes from the West Coast. Remember, as part of their overall changes that they announced with their seating policy, they're going to start doing red eyes as well because I guess they upgraded their computer system, so they're finally allowed to have flights that go in 2 different dates, which is why I think they didn't have red eyes before. So if they do more red eyes from the mainland, they may cut back their inter-island operations because they can use the gates for those mainland flights. So that could all change. But I think overall, the moral of the story is Southwest coming to Hawaii was a great thing for people in miles and points for sure, but for everybody.
Yeah, I think, it was a good move. It opened up Hawaii to more people, especially Southwest fanatics and everything like that. And then more competition is always good for us. And like you said, the red eyes, I think, will be a good addition, especially for those Hawaii flights.
So it's every traveler's nightmare to get stuck in a terminal. And of course, we saw that movie, The Terminal with Tom Hanks, which was like an extreme example of that. But that recently happened to a group of American Airlines flyers who were flying from Puerto Rico to mainland US. So that's US to US. But they had an issue and they had to stop in the Bahamas. And most people on the plane didn't have passports because they didn't need them. And so they got stuck in this terminal, blasting the air conditioning, no food, no water. And it sounded like a nightmare. And just a reminder, always carry your passport. passport.
Yeah, I still don't carry my passport most of the time, but I guess if you're going to Puerto Rico, there's a good chance that you get diverted, or a better chance than if you're flying from like, Vegas to Denver. Like, what are the chances you leave the country there? But I think this was weather based or whatever. They couldn't land because of bad weather, so they turned around a little bit and went and landed in the Bahamas. But even if you had the passport, you're not going to be able to really leave the terminal because you don't know when they're going to fly again. And Americans particularly bad about this of saying, "Oh, we're going to get people here in an hour," or when they do delays, they do it rolling every 15 minutes when they know the plane's 2 hours away. And it's just frustrating if they would say, "Hey, we're not going to get out until the morning right away." Then some people could have left, maybe gone to a hotel or whatever. Other people are still stranded. But when you see something like this happen, you would hope that the airlines would be better prepared, or at least better communication. Bring some blankets in, go get some food, whatever you need to do. Like, you have the ability to do those things. It just shows that, yeah, I know it's a rarity or something off the cuff, but you should have plans in place that you can take care of this.
Totally agree. Policies in place to say if this rare thing happens, we immediately act to help the passengers do that. It reminds me of a story of maybe a decade ago. I was doing a mileage run down to Asuncion, Paraguay, and then I did a turnaround and came back. And on the flight back in Paraguay, they didn't service the plane, the bathrooms, and then the bathrooms all started clogging up apparently. And they announced that we had to do an emergency landing in Aruba so that they could get people on the plane to clear out the bathrooms. I swear to God. So we sat on the tarmac for hours and hours so they could come and vacuum out the bathrooms, and then we took off again. Thankfully, the crew didn't time out, and I had my passport because I was already in a different country. But stuff like that does happen. And had the crew timed out, the pilots timed out, they may have needed to fly in another crew, and we could have been stuck there. So these things do happen often enough that they should have it. And at the very least, the first thing that should be done is get passengers food, water, blankets, everything that you can. If it costs you thousands of dollars to buy it, I don't care. I mean, you're an airline, you're doing this, do it for the passengers, and you don't end up with these stories. But at the end of the day, if this does happen to you as a passenger, you lose a day, you sit in an uncomfortable terminal. I've slept in plenty of airports overnight, so you have a good story to tell. It's not the end of the world either. So I think people do sensationalize this a bit too.
Oh yeah, and in the moment you're very upset and everything. And this was weather related, so you're not even going to really probably get compensation. Maybe they'll give you something as an apology because they didn't handle it when you were on the ground so much. But since it's weather, it's out of their hands, so to speak, and they're not going to do anything. But I had a buddy that was stuck in the Denver airport for 2 days, and there was no food. They ran out of food in the first like 6 hours. No food, nothing. People were just sleeping around the airport because of a big blizzard like 2 years ago. So crazy stuff happens. It's a tough thing. But I know the next story is like the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, it is. This is a delay with Southwest. This lady was stranded in Vegas with a missed connection. While she's on the plane flying into Vegas, she's dealing with a Southwest agent. She was searching hotels, and it was a very busy night. It was Saturday night, and every hotel was booked, and the ones that weren't were like $600, $700, $800 a night. Hotels that usually go for $100, stuff like that. So she was trying to figure it out. She had a large family with her, so it wasn't just 2 or 3 people. So she needed a specific type of room, and she proactively heard from Southwest customer service agent, who not only got her a hotel, making sure that it was big enough for everybody, in fact, got her a giant suite, also made sure she had a taxi big enough for her family, did all of this stuff by the time she landed. So when you hear the bad customer service stories, it's always good to hear one like this.
Yeah, but I don't know where this came. Like, who is this woman and how did she get this special treatment? I can't remember anything like this happening for me. Some of it does happen if you get the right agent and they have power or are well versed or have the experience. They can do a little bit more for you than somebody that's just started, and you get like that front end agent that just is like, hey, this is what the company says, blah, here you go. So I get that, and sometimes you get lucky, but this is like above and beyond. I've never seen anything like this. The closest I've come is like we got delayed and then we were stranded overnight in Frankfurt, and I was worried because there was like a 3-hour line at Lufthansa just to get, rebooked or whatever. And luckily by the time we landed in Frankfurt coming from Munich, they had already emailed me and said, we rebooked you on tomorrow's flight. And I don't know if that's because I had a business class seat or what, but that was so much better. Like as soon as we landed, I was like, okay. Like I didn't even interact with anybody yet. So that was good proactive on their aspect. But this is like above and beyond. And I wouldn't expect it.
Yeah, and she posted a picture of the guy, I think, or he sent her a picture. He seems like the happiest, nicest guy. I think he's ground crew in Las Vegas. So shout out to him, and everybody should take lessons. He should go around the country teaching airline employees how to treat customers. Of course, all the airlines would go broke booking us all $800 a night hotel suites, but you do what you can for customers. And I guess these are some good Southwest stories. We're talking positive about them today.
Yeah, I mean, we saw last summer the other side of Southwest when they couldn't get people home for like 3 days and had nothing for for them. So, like we've said many times before, doesn't matter what airline you fly, whatever one you say, I'll never fly them again because I had a bad experience. You're gonna have it on every airline. There's always gonna be those days.
Absolutely. So let's move on to credit card news. There's two new no lifetime language offers for American Express. And we've talked about that before, but maybe we should sort of explain what that is, Mark, so people know what we mean by no lifetime language offers.
Amex has a weird rule where you can only get a card or a bonus on a card once per lifetime. And equally weird is just holding the card makes you ineligible for the offer. So if you upgrade or downgrade into a card, or you just kind of like add it randomly, and like let's say you have an Amex Green card, but you haven't earned a bonus on it, you still are ineligible. They say per lifetime that usually ends up working out to like 5 or 7 years, and then they reset. But what these offers do is they get around that where it doesn't have that language that prohibits you from getting it. So even if you currently have the card right now, you can sign up and get the bonus. Or if you've had it in the recent past, you can still get the bonus too. So it's kind of like a get out of jail free card.
For sure. And so two offers, one for the gold, one for the platinum card. Starting with the gold, 100,000 membership rewards after $6,000 in spend in the first 6 months. And then you also get 20% back in statement credits on restaurant purchases worldwide, up to $100 back. So not a crazy amount of cash back on top of that, but 100,000 for the gold with its $325 annual fee is not bad. Plus it has other perks as well.
Yeah, you get, your monthly credits from Dunkin', which is newer, for $7 a month. You get Uber credit, $10 a month. You get dining credit, $10 a month. And then they added the Resi credit, which is $50 every 6 months.
And it also has 4X categories, grocery on up to 25,000 in spending, and then dining up to 50,000 in spending. So these are decent categories. And so you can do pretty well on just your spend in those categories as well. And so it's popular for that reason, but the bonus worth at least $1,000, probably more if you transfer it out. So this is a good one. And then the platinum card, I'm not a huge fan of it these days with all of the gotchas and the higher and higher annual fee. When I started doing this hobby, it was $450 annual fee. Now it's $695, but it does come with a $200 annual travel credit. That's a little bit limited, but I use it for United Travel Bank. You get the digital credit with it. You get an Uber credit with it. And the no lifetime language offer, $175K after spending $6,000 within the first 6 months of membership. We've seen this offer around for a while or come and go, but this amount of points for that, and it's a pretty good deal. I've done several of these in the past, so I'm a hypocrite if I say it's not good, because I've certainly done plenty of these.
Yeah, and it's funny how we used to get excited for 100,000 on the platinum. Like that was like breaking news. Everybody freak out. But yeah, they've added the fee increase, and a lot of people that are just getting into this, watching us are probably like, oh, $700, I'd never pay that for a credit card. But like Sean said, on the gold one, that's worth at least $1,000. You can get like gift cards, or if you have the proper setup, you can cash out points at 1 cent or more a piece. So you can do that. Like this is worth $1,750. If you cashed out the points for $750, that covers most of the annual fee, plus you get the credits, and then you're still sitting there with 100,000 points. So all these offers, even when there's a high annual fee, are well worth it in the first year. Then you can decide what you want to do in year 2 and on. So I actually was targeted for both these offers, gladly going to take them. I don't plan on keeping the platinum past the first year unless there's a retention offer.
So another offer is the American Airlines Platinum card from Citi. This has a increased 75K offer. The normal one is 60,000 points, but it's 75,000 after 3,000 in spend. American Airlines miles are very valuable. I've used them so much over the years. Forever, I had a bunch of them, and then I've just been using them like crazy. And so my balances are pretty low. So this is a card I'm considering really great for Japan Airlines and some of their other partners. Like, for example, you could do business class on Japan Airlines for less than the 75K. I think first class is 80,000 for one way. So this could get you a really nice flight or several flights domestically. They have their Saver Awards, and the $99 annual fee is also waived the first year, which is nice as well.
This is a card that will count towards your 524. So if you're worried about Chase or anything, just be aware of that because it is a personal card. But really good offer. A lot of people jump on it. It's funny. You're talking about using American to fly partners, Japan and stuff. That's the best deal. And then the best way to fly American domestically is Alaska miles a lot of times. So there's always the unique partnerships. But yeah, American Airlines miles are really great. One of the more valuable miles out there still. I think they've kept their value up there a little bit more than, the Deltas and Uniteds of the world.
So two more offers. The World of Hyatt Business Card has an increased offer, basically a 75K offer, but it gives you 60,000 points after 5,000 in spend in the first 3 months. Then you can earn an additional 15,000 points after you spend 12,000 in the first 6 months. The initial spend also counts to that. So just think if you spend 12,000 from the time you get the card, you would get the 75K. Now this card has a $199 annual fee. It comes with Discover status. You can get Elite Nights 5 with every 10,000 in spend. You do get a $50 credit each half year with the card. I think the personal card is a better card. I know some people like the business card better, but this is a decent deal, and Hyatt points very valuable.
Yeah, I think it really depends on what you want to go for. If you're into spending towards Hyatt status, the business card is a little bit better because you get 5 nights for the 10K. For that same spend, you'd get 4. That plays out a little bit, but yeah, the personal card, when you get the free night cert every year on anniversary, and then you can earn another one for 15K and spend, I think is better for most people. This offer is a good one if you have to spend $2,000 a month. Should be doable for most businesses out there over 6 months. So if you already have the personal card, this is a good one to get for the bonus and the other perks. But yeah, I think the personal card is better for most people overall.
And then last, the Spark Cash Plus. This is a 2% cashback card from Capital One, but it has a $2,000 bonus, which is huge after 30,000 in spend. This is a business card, so you're going to want to spend a lot on it, but nice return on that 30,000 in spend. And then you can earn more after that, another $2,000 in cash if you spend 500,000. But we're not going to even
Let's
talk
go
about
big
that.
business. Yeah, let's go for it. No, I think these are good for anybody that has business that has a lot spent. Some people businesses spend 30K in a day, not a big deal. So it's a good option. You can also turn these into miles. If you have another Capital One miles earning card, you can call in and set that up where you can transfer the cash back at 1 penny, turns into 1 mile, and then you can transfer it to partners. They'll be worth a bit more there. But yeah, this is a good offer. A lot of people have too much spend. They blow through all their other offers in like a week or two. So this is one that you can chew on for a bit, especially if you're going after that huge 500K in spend, which most people won't, including you and me.
I have done one of these $2,000 cashback business offers in the past, and I forget what the spend was. It might have been 25K. It was close. It was a high spend card, but I used it for my reselling business, and certainly a good return. And it's nice to have those 2% cards as a backup, especially when they're paying you that much up front. So it's a very niche product, very niche offer, but certainly good for some people. Moving on from credit cards, there's a really neat offer with American Airlines and Stand Up to Cancer, and they're essentially offering you 50 points per dollar donated. So you donate to the charity, you get 50 points per dollar. I think the minimum donation is $25. When the whole promotion takes in $3 million in donations, then it ends. But American Airlines miles, you could push that they're worth 2 cents each, maybe not, but you're almost getting back the full value of your donation by doing this, and you're helping a good cause. So this is a win-win.
Yeah, and it's the card holders. If you have an American Airlines credit card, you get 50x. If you don't, then you get the 25x. So probably not worth it unless you have the American Airlines card. But if you do and you donate, let's say you donate to cancer research anyway, I think this is a great way to get something back for that. You won't get the tax credit that you would donating other ways, so consider that as well. It might not mean much to some people and a lot to others, depending on your situation. But yeah, I think if you're getting 50x and you were going to donate anyway, this is a really great promo to take advantage of.
We talked about like the Japan Airlines redemptions, like 57,500 miles to get you one-way business class. If you can find the space from the US to Japan, you couldn't buy the ticket. You could spend the money to donate this, get those miles, and you couldn't buy the ticket for cheaper. So there's definitely some interesting plays here, and it supports a good charity. And I did bury the lead on the 50x having the credit card. So sorry about that for people who got excited before Mark brought you back down to earth. Hilton also has a new promotion called Power Up, and that's where you can earn 2,500 bonus points on all Hilton stays between September 3rd and December 31st. Make sure to register for it, and you can't really double dip. So if you're staying at the same hotel, you can't do like single night reservations. They'll all be put together into one, but this is a nice way to earn some bonus points.
They confirmed with me that it should work on award stays, which isn't normal for Hilton. I didn't see anything in the terms that said you can't do it on award stays, so I'm going to take them at their word. I'm not 100% on that, but that's pretty cool if it does work out that way. And if you do have like a two-player system, a spouse, significant other, you could maybe, if you have like a 3 night stay, player one at the first night, player two, second night, player one, third night, maybe that gets around it that you get bonus points each night. Worth a try.
You need a spouse who really loves you to do that, especially
Yeah, true.
if you're at the same hotel.
Checking in,
Hopefully,
checking out. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of times they'll be really nice and they'll let you stay in the same room. I've done that. Some of us have, moved hotels for promotions and things like that, where you're on a trip and you move multiple times, and our spouses are saints. Hilton also has a Lyft promotion. They have a partnership where you earn 3 points per dollar spent on Lyft rides. But if you register, you do 5 Lyft rides before September 3rd, then you can earn a 1,500 bonus points. Just a reminder, like with these partnerships, always link your accounts, because then you can get targeted for promotions. We talked about the AA Hyatt status match on the previous show. It's always a good idea to link your accounts. You are sort of giving everybody your data. That's the downside. But, for 1,500 Hilton points, is it worth it? I don't know.
Yeah, if you use Lyft already, I'd say it's worth it. If you don't, I wouldn't like change my ways to earn it. But you also earn 3 Hilton points per dollar on Lyft going forward and stuff like that. So all these little partnerships, people have all these little spiffs. So anything you pay for, travel related, usually you can earn bonuses through shopping portals, stuff like that. So just be sure that you're stacking things when you can.
And now on to some cool S, and thanks to Josh and Rachel, Food and Travel, for it still cracks you up every time, right? So, I say it because on YouTube it would be fine, but for the podcast version, we don't want an explicit rating. So I don't say the S word. I do not mind saying it. I would love to say it, but we're trying to be nice to everybody here. So it's cool S. But Josh and Rachel sent this. This is the Royal Railway Utopia station. And this is on Utopia of the Seas, which is the second largest cruise ship in the world. But this really shows us what the future of experiential stuff is. And they have these simulated train cars with a full show. So you have windows, you can look outside. I think it's themed to the American West. Obviously, you have to be on the cruise to do this. It's $74.99 to do it. But it starts with they deliver tickets with your names on it, like rail tickets to your room. You get a phone call from the conductor. It's a full show. I think there's a robbery that goes on. It has a 5-course meal and all the visuals. What's really neat about this, and we're starting to see more of these experiential type places coming even to land as well, is they could retheme it. They could do the Orient Express, which is what's rumored next for it. Also, all kinds of different things, different times of year, different places in the world. All of this stuff. It looks neat. I watched a couple videos on it. Yeah, this would be a fun experience on a cruise ship. And I think it really just shows you where we're headed with this type of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea and something a little bit different that you don't normally see on cruise ships. And it reminds me of the Harry Potter train, at Universal, where you go from one park to the other and they put like a little movie on the window as you're going. And it's kind of like a full immersive experience. Plus you get to eat and a little bit of a show. I think it's something, really unique and worth the extra spend. And we talked about the tequila train several weeks ago, which was sound like another really cool kind of experience, but that's an actual train instead of videos. But I like this, that you get something a little unique while you're at sea. Maybe it feels like you don't really feel it on a big ship, but it would be cool if you felt like you were still going because you're on a boat.
Well, Josh and Rachel really liked it, but I watched another review where he talked about that the seats actually move and they do simulate the movement of the train as you go, which is very interesting. So it looks real. I think that this is a great, the screens are high quality and I can't wait to see what they do with this. And, there was also some videos this week of different bars that are being built around the country. Have you seen these? They kind of remind me of the Sphere in Vegas, smaller versions of that, where they have stadium seating and they show games on them, but it's basically designed to simulate you being in the stadium. This sort of experiential stuff is the future of it, whether it's on sea or on land. And I like it. I like all of this stuff, as long as it's high quality and done well. And this seems to be the case with Utopia of the Seas.
Don't give away our stuff. That's our cool S for next show. Let's keep it for that.
All right, so let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about. The no lifetime language offers, all the credit card stuff. Are you grabbing any of those? The Royal Railway, Southwest and Hawaii, getting stuck in the Bahamas, that cool customer service agent who booked the lady of the suite, all of that stuff. Leave a comment. We do a new show every Wednesday, and we will see you back here next week. Subscribe, join us, comment, do all that stuff. Help support and grow the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody.